There are moments when pain runs deep, when betrayal leaves scars, and when injustice makes you question if God sees your suffering. But rest assured, He is a God of justice. You do not have to seek revenge or spend your energy plotting how to make things right. God fights for you. When He steps in, He handles things in ways far beyond what you could imagine. If you've been hurt, rejected, or wronged, pay attention because God is moving. You may not always see it immediately, but there are signs that He is dealing with those who have hurt you. Be still and trust in His timing, because when God begins to handle a situation, no one can escape His hand. The first sign is an unshakable conviction in the heart of the person who wronged you. They may not say it out loud, but deep down they know what they did. God begins to stir their conscience, making it impossible for them to ignore the weight of their actions. Regret starts to creep in, and no matter how much they try to push it aside, the burden of their wrongdoing follows them everywhere. That inner voice, that restless heart that is God working. The second sign is when their plans start to fall apart. When someone has caused harm, especially to a child of God, they may think they can continue moving forward as if nothing happened. But suddenly, what once worked for them begins to fail. Opportunities slip away, relationships crumble, and success turns into struggle. This is not coincidence, it is divine intervention. God is shifting things, ensuring that the one who hurt you sees that they cannot prosper through injustice. The third sign is exposure. No matter how much they try to hide, truth has a way of coming to light. What was done in darkness will eventually be revealed. People who once believed in their lies will start to see the truth. Their actions will come back to them, and they will have no choice but to face the reality of what they have done. When God decides it's time for their deeds to be exposed, no amount of effort can keep it hidden. The fourth sign is their loss of peace. There is no rest for the wicked, and when God begins to deal with someone who has wronged you, they lose the ability to feel peace. Their mind becomes troubled, their sleep becomes restless, and no matter how much they try to distract themselves, they cannot escape the discomfort within them. They may act normal on the outside, but internally they are in turmoil. That is God speaking to their spirit, reminding them of what they have done. The fifth sign is when they begin to experience what they put you through. It is not revenge, it is divine justice. God allows them to walk in the very pain they inflicted on you. If they lied about you, they will find themselves surrounded by deceit. If they betrayed you, they will experience betrayal. If they took something from you, they will experience loss. This is not karma, it is God's law of reaping and sowing. What they planted, they must now harvest. The sixth sign is that their influence begins to fade. People who once admired them start to pull away. Their voice no longer carries the same power. Doors that were once open to them begin to close. God is stripping away everything they gained through manipulation, deceit, and harm. Their position, their reputation, and their support system all begin to crumble. This is a reminder that no one can build their success on the pain of another without facing consequences. The seventh sign is that God will vindicate you in ways you never expected. The same people who believed lies about you will begin to see the truth. The same doors that were closed because of someone's deception will be reopened by God's hand. He will bless you in front of those who tried to destroy you. He will elevate you, not just to restore you, but to remind them that His favor is not to be tampered with. Your healing will be their realization that they never had the power to break you. God is just. He sees every tear, hears every prayer, and knows every injustice done against you. But His way is higher. He does not need your help to fight your battles. He only needs your trust. Let go of bitterness, release the need for revenge, and watch as He moves in ways beyond your imagination. When God handles those who hurt you, He does it completely. Stand firm. Keep your heart pure. and know that his justice never fails. Your pain has not been ignored, and your healing has already begun. God is in control, trust him. When God steps in, there is no need for you to fight. The burden of seeking revenge is heavy, but his justice is complete. He sees what was done and responds in ways beyond human ability. You do not have to waste your energy plotting how to make things right. Let go, step back, and trust in his perfect timing. His ways are higher, and his justice never fails. Guilt is a weight that cannot be ignored for long. No matter how much someone tries to suppress it, God begins to stir their heart. Their mind becomes unsettled, and their actions no longer feel as justified as they once did. They may hide it from others, but deep inside they know the truth. That inner voice, that feeling of unease, is God dealing with them. The weight of conviction is often the first sign of his justice. When God moves, what was once effortless for them starts to fail. Their success, built on deception or harm, begins to crumble. Opportunities disappear, relationships strain, and what once worked in their favor suddenly falls apart. This is not by accident, it is God's intervention. He does not allow injustice to thrive forever. Sooner or later, their foundation of wrongdoing collapses. Nothing stays hidden forever, no matter how well it was covered. When God decides it is time, everything done in the dark comes into the light. The lies they told, the secrets they kept, the harm they caused, it will all be exposed. Those who once stood by them will begin to see the truth. No amount of deception can protect them from divine revelation. Exposure is God's way of bringing clarity where there was once confusion. Peace is a gift that only God gives, and he can also take it away. When someone has done wrong and refuses to repent, their spirit becomes restless. No matter how much they distract themselves, they cannot escape the discomfort. Their sleep is interrupted, their thoughts are troubled, and their mind is unsettled. It is a spiritual storm within them that only surrender can calm. When God removes peace, it is a sign that he is working on them. God is just, and one of his ways of dealing with wrongdoers is through reflection. The same pain they cause you begins to show up in their own life. If they betrayed you, betrayal finds them. If they lied about you, deception surrounds them. This is not revenge. It is the principle of sowing and reaping. God allows them to experience what they inflicted. Only through their own suffering will they understand the weight of their actions. When someone takes from you through dishonesty or selfishness, they may think they have won. But God does not let injustice go unnoticed. What was taken will not remain in their hands for long. Whether it is relationships, success, or peace, their grip on it will loosen. God has a way of restoring what was lost and ensuring that wrongful gains do not last. They will soon realize that nothing stolen can bring lasting fulfillment. Influence is a fragile thing, and when built on deception, it does not last. Those who once followed and admired them will begin to question their integrity. Trust will erode, support will dwindle, and admiration will turn into doubt. What they built through manipulation will not stand. God allows people to see the truth in time. When influence fades, it is a sign that deception can no longer sustain them. Manipulation is a tool that works only for a season. There comes a point when even the most convincing deceiver loses control. Their words no longer carry the same power, and their ability to mislead weakens. People grow tired of their tactics and their hold on others diminishes. This is God breaking their ability to harm. Without manipulation, they must face the truth of their actions. Positions of power gained through harm will not remain. God removes authority when it is abused. They may have risen by stepping on others, but he does not allow them to stay there. Titles, roles, and influence can all be stripped away in an instant. What once seemed secure can be lost overnight. This is divine justice, ensuring that no position is held at the cost of another's pain. People are not blind forever, and truth always has a way of surfacing. Those who once believed in them without question will start seeing their flaws. Trust will be broken and loyalty will fade. The deception that once held people together will start to unravel. God has a way of opening eyes at the right time. When people begin to question them, it is a sign that the truth is making its way to the surface. Reputation is not protected by lies, and God ensures that false images crumble. What they worked so hard to portray will start to fall apart. Their carefully curated facade will no longer be convincing. People will see the inconsistencies, the contradictions, and the truth behind the mask. When reputation is shaken, it is often a sign of God's justice. No falsehood stands forever when He is at work. Doors that were once open to them will begin to close. The same opportunities they walked into easily will now be out of reach. Favor that was once with them will fade. This is God's way of reminding them that success built on harm does not last. They will try to move forward, but obstacles will appear where there were once pathways. The closed doors are God's way of halting their wrongful progress. Success that comes through manipulation or dishonesty is never secure. When God begins to deal with someone, their foundation will weaken. What once seemed unshakable will start to fall apart. It may not happen all at once, but cracks will appear, and everything they built will eventually collapse. No amount of effort can hold up something that God has decided to bring down. The downfall is inevitable when He is involved. Restoration is God's promise to those who trust Him. What was taken, lost, or destroyed will be returned in ways far greater than expected. He does not allow His children to remain in lack. What seemed like an unfair loss will turn into an unexpected blessing. When God restores, it is always in abundance. The pain will not be the final chapter, His restoration will be. Healing is the greatest evidence that someone never had true power over you. When you move forward, unbroken and stronger than before, it is a testimony. What was meant to destroy you only refined you. Your ability to walk in peace while they struggle is proof that God is working. They may have thought they won, but your restoration proves otherwise. Healing is a sign of divine justice at work. When God's favor is upon you, it becomes undeniable. Even those who once doubted you will see it. The very people who witnessed your suffering will also witness your victory. His blessings will come in ways no one can deny. The favor of God will overshadow every attack. Your comeback will be stronger than any setback. This is how He ensures that His justice is seen by all. Your enemies will watch as God elevates you. Those who tried to bring you down will see you rise instead. They will have no choice but to acknowledge His hand upon your life. The plans they had against you will be reversed. God does not just restore, He increases. What was meant to harm you becomes the very thing that lifts you higher. Peace is a sign that God has settled the matter. While they struggle with conviction, you will walk in complete stillness. The weight that once burdened you will be gone. No more sleepless nights, no more anxiety, just divine peace. This is what happens when you let God handle things. He does not just deal with them, He grants you the peace that surpasses all understanding. As God lifts you up, the same ones who tried to bury you will see it. They will watch in silence as doors open for you that they tried to shut. Your success will not be hidden, and your blessings will be undeniable. What they thought would be your downfall will become the very thing that strengthens you. God does not just restore, He multiplies. Your elevation is proof that no weapon formed against you can prosper. The influence they once held will begin to slip through their fingers. People who once admired them will no longer be captivated by their words. Their charm will fade, their persuasion will weaken, and their following will diminish. When God begins to handle the situation, false influence cannot stand. The illusion of their power will be shattered. They will realize they can no longer manipulate the outcome. You do not have to convince anyone of the truth. God will do it for you. Those who ignored your pain will suddenly begin to acknowledge it. Their eyes will be opened, and they will start seeing things clearly. God allows time to reveal what words cannot. As clarity unfolds, the sympathy that was once missing will come. Your struggle will not be dismissed any longer. What was once stacked against you will begin to shift in your favor. The people who once rejected you will start to recognize your worth. The lies spoken over you will lose their power, and truth will take its place. God will remove the obstacles that once held you back. His divine plan cannot be stopped by human actions. Every delay was only preparing the way for something greater. The ones who harmed you will begin to feel the weight of isolation. Where they once had support, they will now find distance. People will no longer rush to defend them, and their words will fall on deaf ears. God has a way of removing false alliances. Without a strong foundation, their confidence will begin to crumble. They will have to face the consequences alone. Every word they spoke against you will return to them. The deception they used will now be used against them. Lies they created will turn into their own downfall. What they meant to harm you will become a mirror reflecting back at them. God does not let falsehood stand forever. Eventually, their own words will trap them. They will begin to look for relief but find none. The same strategies they used to move forward will suddenly fail. No matter how much they try to control the situation, nothing will work in their favor. God will block every escape route until they acknowledge their wrongs. Every attempt to avoid consequences will be met with more obstacles. Running will no longer be an option. Deep within, their heart will grow heavy with conviction. The distractions that once drowned out their guilt will lose their effect. No matter how much they try to carry on, the weight of their actions will follow them. God speaks in ways that cannot be ignored. Their conscience will not let them rest until they make things right. The unease will not leave them. You will not have to lift a finger to see justice unfold. God's hand will move in ways you never expected. What seemed impossible will become undeniable. Without any effort on your part, things will begin to shift. The downfall of those who wronged you will not come by your actions. It will be God's work alone. Every act of injustice will be corrected in divine timing. What was once unfair will be made right. The balance will be restored, and you will no longer feel the weight of what happened. God's justice is perfect even when it feels delayed. You may not understand the process, but you will see the results. Nothing escapes his attention. Pride will be stripped away from those who refuse to acknowledge their wrongs. They will be humbled in ways they never expected. The arrogance they once carried will disappear. Every false sense of superiority will be shattered. God has a way of bringing people to their knees. He allows humility to take the place of pride. The more they resist accountability, the more they will struggle. Running from responsibility will only bring more hardship. What they once avoided will now become unavoidable. God ensures that every action meets its consequence. There is no escaping divine justice. Every attempt to escape truth will only make their fall greater. The lies spoken against you will no longer hold weight. Those who once believed them will begin to see the truth. The darkness that clouded their judgment will lift. God does not allow deception to last forever. Eventually, clarity will come. When truth shines, no lie can stand against it. You will not have to defend yourself. Your character will speak for itself. God will prove who you are without you having to say a word. The truth will emerge without force or argument. Everything done in secret will be exposed naturally. Your silence will be more powerful than any defense. God's justice works in undeniable ways. What once felt like a loss will turn into a testimony. The pain, the struggle, the unfairness, it will all serve a purpose. God will use what was meant for harm to elevate you. The situation that once broke you will become your greatest strength. Nothing is wasted when God is in control. He turns every tear into a lesson of victory. Your blessings will come in ways you never expected. What was taken will be returned in greater measure. The favor of God will surround you, making it clear that God is upon you. The setbacks will prove to be setups for something greater. Every difficulty will become part of your testimony. God's blessings will overshadow every wrong done to you. Even in the presence of those who doubted you, God will lift you up. They will witness your growth, your healing, and your breakthrough. Their words may have tried to limit you, but they will see that they held no power. God's elevation cannot be stopped by human interference. He will bless you in plain sight. No one will be able to deny what he has done. As you walk in peace, they will wrestle with conviction. While you move forward, they will feel stuck in the consequences of their actions. God does not just handle the situation, he ensures you heal. Your peace is proof that he has settled the matter. Nothing they do can disturb what he has restored. Your future is untouched by their past actions. The unrest in their heart will not leave until they acknowledge the truth. The more they fight it, the heavier it will become. There is no escaping the justice of God. Whether in private or public, they will face the reality of their choices. Their spirit will not find relief until they make things right. The weight of their actions will press upon them until repentance comes. God's justice is never incomplete. He does not just deal with the wrong, he restores the right. Your story will not end in suffering, but in victory. He will make sure that every injustice is accounted for. The past will no longer define you, but it will define them. When God steps in, the final word is always his.